Hello everybody. So in today's video we are going to make beef bourguignon. It is video number 5 out of 6 for Garten recipes. Let me look here, I'm going to find the page. So this is the recipe we're going to make. It's on page 121. I'll link it in the description box if I can find it. So we're going to make her beef bourguignon, beef stew basically with red wine recipe. Okay, so I just want to give you guys a little bit of a look at what I've started. So I have 2 pounds of beef chuck in here and about 4 pieces of bacon all cut up. We're supposed to brown this and saute it. So that's what I've started doing. Oh, and a little bit of salt and pepper and some olive oil. Okay, so let's chop up the vegetables while we're waiting for this. So we're just browning those up. So I already peeled and washed my carrots. Save a little bit of time here. So we're going to slice these. It says to slice them in diagonal, but I don't think it really matters. Just as long as they're in chunks. I like to make sure they're bite-sized. And then once the beef and the bacon is sauteed, we are going to saute all the vegetables. So for this recipe, she uses a Dutch oven, and all the sauteed vegetables and meat gets put into the Dutch oven, and then she puts it in the oven. But I do not own a Dutch oven, so I'm going to use the slow cooker. I think the result will be the same. I like making like beef bourguignon or beef stew basically in the slow cooker because it makes the beef really nice and tender. So for her recipe for the vegetables, she has carrots, mushrooms, and onions, like pearl onions. I'm just going to use diced onions, and I'm going to add potatoes. I do like potato in our stew, so I'm going to add potatoes. Those are the only 2 changes I'm doing differently than she has in the recipe, is adding potatoes and cooking it in the slow cooker rather than the oven. So these are yellow gold potatoes. I'm just going to dice up a few of these. Let's do one more. I don't want to do too much because I only have a 7-quart slow cooker. So I want to make sure there's enough room for the sauce. I think that's good. And I'm just going to dice up a few of these mushrooms. I've had them for about a week. They need to be used. I'm just going to rough chop them. She wants them in big chunks, so I'm just going to cut them in bite-sized pieces here. Okay, I think that's good. Let's go check on the beef. Well, I seem to be getting all this liquid in here, so I think I'm going to drain this liquid just so this can sear a little bit better. Okay, I think I got most of it out. I'm going to turn the heat up so it can evaporate what's left here. Like I said before, all it was 4 pieces of bacon chopped up, 2 pounds of stew beef or beef chuck, and some salt and pepper. So I'm just going to let the liquid sear off a little bit. Okay, it's starting to get a nice sear on it. Okay, so we don't want to overcook these, so I'm going to put these in the slow cooker and we'll start cooking the vegetables. Turn that down. I'm going to put it right into the slow cooker. In the recipe, she says to take it out and put it in a bowl from your Dutch oven that you're cooking in. And everything gets added together later in the end. Turn this down a little bit. Okay, so now I need to add some more olive oil. And we're going to add in the vegetables. Okay, let me turn this down more. Okay, I just need to get the onions to put in here as well. I use my diced frozen onions here. These do not need to be cooked all the way through, we're just sautéing them a little bit. How many onions does it say? So equivalent to 2 yellow onions or whole baby onions. So I think that's about right. So we're just going to saute these up. Okay, I just want to mix them up a bit with the oil here and all of the juices, so they don't burn. You can see it's getting a sear on it already. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more salt and pepper to this. We're seasoning in layers. Actually, I should probably add a little bit more. It's vegetables. So we're just searing them till they get a nice sear on the outside. I think it's just to give them like a nice seared char flavor. Okay, so we're going to let that simmer for a couple minutes. I just want to show you guys the beautiful colors. The orange and the yellow really pop. It's really nice. Okay, so we're going to let that sear. I'm going to turn it up a little bit more now that the pan's cooled down. Okay, so now I'm going to add about 2 or 3 tablespoons of garlic. And you want to cook it for about a minute, she says. This is just garlic paste I'm using. Okay, we'll let that simmer for about a minute and then we'll add the next ingredient. Okay, so we've cooked that. So now, I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. We need to add half a cup of cognac or good brandy. Add it to the pan. And then, we're supposed to ignite it. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, it doesn't want to work. Hold on. So we just need to let that burn off. Give it a minute. We're burning the alcohol off, which is good for me since I have an intolerance to it. wait till the rest of it's done here. There we go. Okay, so now we're just going to mix that in. And let me just check the recipe. I think this is where we add the red wine. Okay, so this is where we add the meat back in, and then we add the red wine. Okay. Just going to mix it all together here. I think this is going to be delicious. Okay, now we're supposed to add this entire bottle. I thought that was a lot, but it cooks down. So I'm using Merlot. I'm also using non-alcoholic wine, but obviously if you like wine, you can use alcoholic wine. Okay, now we're supposed to let this simmer for a little bit, for a couple minutes. Just want to make sure everything's good. Okay, so now we're going to add, it says up to 2 cups of beef broth until the meat is almost covered. I'm probably going to add more of this once it's in here, just so I can tell how much is going to fit. Then we need about 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. About that. And about half a teaspoon, I'm going to use dried thyme, which is about half a teaspoon. If you're using fresh, it's a whole teaspoon. Okay. And then just mix that in and let it simmer. Okay, now let's make the thickening agent for this. Okay, in her recipe it says to take about 4 tablespoons of butter and about 3 tablespoons of flour and mix them together. So we need to blend these together, and then we're supposed to put this in the middle of the stew. This is going to be interesting. I personally prefer using cornstarch in stew, but we'll see how this turns out. Little nervous about it. So we're just blending the two together here. So I just reread the recipe and it says 2 tablespoons of butter. So I got rid of some of it. Okay, hopefully that's combined enough. Okay, let's go add it. A little nervous about this, we'll see. I think I did it a little wrong. I think I was supposed to saute the mushrooms with the butter and flour mixture, but I think it'll be okay. I'm just going to mix that in. We're going to bring it to a boil again, and then we're going to pour this into the crock pot. So I'm going to let it simmer for a couple minutes and let it thicken a little bit. Give you a close-up look at what this looks like. Looks pretty good. Okay. Let's see if I can do this without dumping it everywhere. My pan is quite big, so we'll see. I think this might go everywhere, but we'll see. I think I'm going to do is take out some of the vegetables with this, just so it's not so much. So this is the point where you would put this in the oven at 250 in your Dutch oven for an hour and a half to 2 hours, I think she says. Making a little bit of a mess, but I'll clean that. Okay, let's try using the ladle. I just don't want to burn myself by trying to pour this all in here. I think the vegetables and everything would flop everywhere. Smells delicious. Okay, let's try and dump the rest. There we go. Just got a few pieces left here. Okay, so I don't think we need to add any more beef stock. I'll show you in a second here. Okay, so this is in the slow cooker. So she says just to have the liquid just covering the meat. So I think that's perfect. Okay, so I'm going to slow cook this for a few hours and then I will show you the end product. I just wanted to give you guys a little look at what the stew looks like. Looks delicious. It's almost done. Probably another half hour or so and this should be done. But I wanted to give you a look at what it looked like like 3/4 of the way done. Okay, so it's been cooking for a really long time. It looks so good. Looks nice and tender. We're gonna taste this in a sec. But first, I want to show you my biscuits that I made to go with it. So I made some of my homemade biscuits to go with the stew. Look how puffed up they are. Turned out great. I do have a recipe for these on my channel. I did a video for them if you want to look at it. Okay, let's give this a taste and see if it needs any seasonings or anything. I'm so curious to see what this tastes like. I haven't tasted it at all, so I could taste it on camera with you guys. Oh my god, that's so good. I don't think it needs anything. It's perfect. The beef is really tender, mainly because it's in the crock pot. I'm assuming that it would turn out really tender in the oven as well, because it was on a low heat. But this has such a depth of flavor. It's really, really good. You should make it. That is so good. So guys, that recipe is definitely a hit. It's way better than my beef stew, and I'm probably going to switch recipes. That's how good it is. So I highly, highly recommend you make this one. So this is where I'm going to end the video today. It's time for dinner, and I'll see you next time. Bye.